In the first scenes, we see a man hiding a knife as he knocks on a door, but the woman he wants to talk to does not wish to see him. A young woman working at a nightclub notices that she is being followed. It is her former lover, Franco Tyler. She realizes he will never leave her alone, nevertheless she tries to throw him off her trail. But he drags the woman into a utility room and starts taking photos, forcing her to admit that she cheated. The woman tries to explain to him that everything between them is over. At that moment Franco takes out a knife. 10 years later, Angela and her husband, Greg, are hosting guests. They seem like the perfect couple. Angela runs a wine business, and at the same time is part of her husband's image. The party has to go flawlessly. Angela notices a handsome guy with an antique camera and starts a conversation with him. He introduces himself as Franco Tyler and says that photography is his hobby, while his main job is accounting. Franco works for Greg. Their pleasant conversation is interrupted by Greg, who makes a toast in honor of his company, thanking his colleagues and business partners. Angela tells her husband how proud she is of him. Franco clearly does not like the sight. Before the guy leaves, Angela gives him a bottle of wine, although he does not drink, or so he says. Both of them feel the spark of attraction between them. Seeing her husband chatting with some young woman, Angela cannot help feeling hurt. She goes to the house next door, to Jeannie, who is looking after the couple's daughter, Vivian. Jeannie's husband is currently away on a business trip. Angela only wanted to make sure the girl was not bored. The woman has to return to the guests. Greg introduces his wife to his new assistant, Lisa, the same young woman he has been charming all evening. Angela feels that her husband is hiding something from her, and she is not wrong, he really does have a secret. The woman finds more and more troubling signs. Greg is constantly texting someone, passing it off as work. When Angela tries to talk to him about Lisa, he in turn points out that she was flirting with Franco too. But Greg does not mind at all, claiming that harmless flirting will only strengthen their marriage. Angela wants to believe that it really is just paranoia. There are only 2 weeks left before the company merger, so Greg is constantly disappearing at work. Angela's wine business is growing. She cannot manage the paperwork on her own and desperately needs an accountant. Just then, Franco appears on her doorstep. He knows about her problems and offers to help with the paperwork temporarily, until she hires someone on a permanent basis. Angela would not mind meeting at a cafe tomorrow and discussing everything. Franco gives her the photos from the party. She is impressed. During dinner, Greg does not take his eyes off his phone, continuing to text someone. In the morning while Angela is making breakfast, he leaves his phone on the table and goes to wake Vivian. The woman cannot help herself, gets into his phone and finds a conversation with Lisa that confirms the affair. Not knowing what to do, Angela decides to ask her friend Claire for advice. This is not the first proof of Greg's infidelity. The first time happened when Angela was pregnant. For the sake of keeping the family together, she forgave her unfaithful husband, although it was very hard for her. Her self-esteem was destroyed. Despite everything, Angela does not want a divorce, especially since their 10th anniversary is coming up soon. Claire advises her to have a little affair too. That would be fair. However, Angela is not sure she could do it. Greg calls his wife and says he will be late again today. It hurts Angela to hear this because she knows perfectly well that her husband is staying out late for reasons that have nothing to do with work. After once again asking their neighbor Jeannie to look after Vivian, Angela packs a suitcase. She is planning to stay with Claire for a while. In all this chaos, Angela completely forgot about her meeting with Franco at the cafe. She arrives late. Greg keeps calling and texting his wife, but she ignores him. While helping Angela sort out her taxes, Franco mentions that Lisa, unlike him, does not mind working overtime. At that moment Angela cannot hold back her tears and admits that her husband is cheating on her. Franco regretfully confirms that there are rumors about it at the office. He also encourages Angela, saying that he once faced infidelity too. He lost his temper, but in the end realized that things could still be fixed. Since his wife has not answered a single one of his calls or messages, Greg comes home early. However, Angela is not there. Greg does not understand what is going on. Meanwhile, she is having a wonderful time with Franco. Greg keeps trying to reach his wife again and again, but he only gets her voicemail. Angela happily returns Franco's kiss and agrees to leave with him tonight, while Greg suffers in uncertainty. At Franco's house, Angela notices photographs of a woman who looks very much like her all over the walls. She asks who it is, which makes Franco visibly nervous. Angela thinks it would be better for her to leave. The man quickly says these are photos of his late niece. According to him, a terrible tragedy happened, and he still has not gotten over it. Angela gives in after all and stays with him. Greg calls Claire and asks if she knows where Angela is. Claire only says that he is only himself to blame. Angela and Franco give in to passion. It is already morning, and his wife still has not shown up, which is driving Greg insane. Meanwhile, she wants to leave quietly so as not to wake Franco. However, curiosity gets the better of her, and she looks through Franco's photo album. On every page, there is the young woman he claimed was his niece. But with each page, the photos become more and more sinister. Newspaper clippings about the young woman's death are attached to them. At that moment, Franco wakes up. She demands an explanation from him. He says the man who took his niece's life was a photographer. Franco keeps these pictures as a memory. Angela tries to keep herself together, although the situation is clearly unhealthy. Franco does everything he can to persuade her to stay a little longer, but Angela is in a hurry to leave. He asks when she will call him. The woman vaguely replies that she needs to deal with her personal problems right now. At home, Greg confronts his wife. He was terribly worried. Angela shouts that she saw his messages with Lisa. The man explains that he was very busy, so he asked Lisa to choose diamond earrings and book 2 tickets to Italy. It was supposed to be an anniversary gift. Greg insists that this was his only secret. Hearing this, Angela does not know what to feel. It takes an enormous effort for her to stay in control. Only when Greg leaves for work does she let her emotions out. Angela feels unbearable guilt, because as it turns out she is the cheater. Meanwhile, Franco continues to force his attention on her. When she does not answer any of his messages, he comes over in person. Angela explains to him as calmly as she can that that night was a mistake, and that her marriage is not over, despite everything she said before. The woman asks Franco never to call her again, but of course he does not keep his promise, calling her even at night. Angela has to block his number. The woman develops paranoia. She sees Franco literally everywhere. On the day of their anniversary, the couple goes to a restaurant. Greg cannot help noticing how nervous his wife is, especially when he asks where she spent the night. Before she can answer anything, the man says it must have been at Claire's. When Angela sees Franco, she panics even more. He clearly did not end up in the same restaurant by chance. She is terrified that her husband will find out everything. Franco comes over to their table. Greg, suspecting nothing, introduces his accountant. Angela tries to act as if she barely knows this guy. Back at home, the woman asks her husband to be careful with Franco. Greg is confused as to why she is saying this. What reason does she have not to trust him? Franco is obsessed with Angela, spying on her and taking photos. He recorded their night of love on video, but she of course knew nothing about the camera. Having no idea how to get out of this situation, Angela calls Claire and tells her everything. That guy is a psycho and clearly will not leave her alone. Worst of all, Angela is forced to live in fear because it is impossible to make plans for the future and enjoy life when her marriage could end at any moment. All Claire can advise her to do is talk to Franco calmly. Angela calls Greg and asks him to pick Vivian up from school. Since Greg is busy, he asks his accountant to do it. Seeing Franco in her house, Angela tries to drive him out, to which he says with a smirk that he now has the right to pick Vivian up from school. Moreover, Greg gave him the keys to the house. Franco threatens to destroy Greg's business and Angela's life if she does not say that she loves him. The woman is not going to do that because she does not love him at all. Franco reminds her that as an accountant, he can deliberately make mistakes in the reports and make sure the merger does not happen. As hard as it is for Angela, she has to say that she loves him. That same evening, Angela demands that her husband take the keys back from Franco and stop letting him anywhere near their daughter. Greg is completely confused as to why she is behaving this way. Lately, she has become nervous and suspicious. The spouse's argument is interrupted by the sound of breaking glass. Someone has smashed a window. The couple's dog is hurt by the shards. Greg urgently takes the pet to the vet. Unfortunately, the animal may not survive. The police arrive. Officer Davis concludes that it was an attack and asks the spouses to think about whether they have any enemies. Greg genuinely does not know who could have gone to such an extreme. There are disgruntled employees at his company, but the criminal's motive was clearly deeper. The next morning, Greg learns that the merger is being postponed, supposedly because of discrepancies in the reports. He admits to his wife that they are bankrupt. If the merger does not happen, they will not be able to pay the mortgage and will lose the house. Greg knows he acted short-sightedly by completely entrusting the paperwork to Franco and not double-checking anything. Angela supports her husband, promising that they will get through it together. Later, without telling him, she goes to the police station and tells the officer the truth. Obviously, she does not have much of a choice, and she has to tell Greg too. Now this is no longer a matter of the company merger, but of their lives. Angela realizes that Greg may leave her after this. Franco continues stalking Angela, leaving her photographs that expose her affair. Moreover, he somehow managed to install spyware on her computer. Angela gathers all her resolve to confess to Greg, but she never expects him to invite Franco to dinner at their house. This guy has managed to convince his boss that he has nothing to do with the mistakes in the reports. When he gets a moment alone with Angela, Franco threatens her, saying that if she tells Greg everything, he will ruin the deal. Angela is desperate and asks Claire, whose ex-husband is a private detective, to contact him. Perhaps he can dig up some dirt on Franco, so they can blackmail him and force him to leave her alone. Angela does not know that Franco has gained access to her phone and is listening in on all her conversations. He starts stalking Claire. Taking advantage of the fact that she does not know him by sight, he buys the woman a drink at a bar and quickly charms her. He introduces himself as Eric. Angela finally tells Greg the truth. His reaction is predictable. He cannot understand how his wife could have done this at the most important moment of his life, even though she was in his place 10 years ago and forgave him. Angela tries to explain that Franco is dangerous, but Greg does not want to hear anything. Claire and Franco give in to passion at his house. When he falls asleep, she takes a picture of his face and sends it to Angela to brag. But in reality Franco is only pretending to be asleep. This is exactly what he was counting on. After reading Angela's message, Claire first thinks it is a joke, until she sees an entire collection of photographs of young women. She urgently sends Angela her location and is about to run away, when Franco suddenly blocks her path. Angela calls the police, but the officers have no right to break down the door without a warrant. She realizes she will have to act on her own to save Claire. Meanwhile Franco is holding the woman captive. Remembering that Jeannie has a gun, Angela takes it and returns to Franco's house. Hundreds of photographs show his many victims. Unfortunately Angela is too late, Claire is already dead. The woman finds a message from Franco saying that if she wants to see her daughter alive, she must go home right now. Having the keys to the house, he is already waiting for her there. Under the influence of alcohol, Franco becomes even more uncontrollable. What he truly cannot stand is rejection. Suddenly Angela appears with the gun. A struggle breaks out between them. The woman screams, demanding to know where her daughter is. Franco insists that he would never hurt Vivian, that they could become a family. Realizing she can only win through cunning, Angela says what Franco wants to hear, that she is a cheater. Seizing the moment Angela attacks him, then pulls the trigger, but the gun does not fire. All this time Greg has been tied up inside the house. He is forced to watch everything, powerless to do anything. Angela pushes Franco down the stairs, but even that does not stop him. Greg manages to free himself and get to the gun. He shoots. The couple is reunited. Some time passes. Angela and Greg decide to start over with a clean slate. The whole family goes on a trip to Italy.